Okay, so here is the table about a day and a half, 2 days after I coated it with Ruby Monocoat Natural. And so there's no color added to this, but I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I can't tell you. I just absolutely love it. And I'll tell you, the touch of it, you can still feel the wood. It doesn't feel like there's any plastic type product on it. It actually even smells good, but I just absolutely love the look of it. I will probably, and I'll tell you this, it's called Rubio Monocoat, and it really, Monocoat, it's just one coating. So, and it goes on so easy. What you really do is you just, you mix up a two-part system, and so that creates it where it hardens. So that's why it's a two-part system. Anyway, you pour it on, and you just essentially just scree it on with a little squeegee type thing. And you can leave it on there for a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then completely wipe it off. And it says you can't wipe too much off. In other words, just take it, everything's left, just wipe it off completely. Because what it's done is it's soaked into the wood and it's protected it, and it's hardened to some degree. But if you even look close, you can still see and feel the grain of the wood in some sense. I don't want to say the actual grain of the wood, because I had sanded it quite smooth. But you can see, if you were looking at it microscopically, if you could still feel the wood texture of it. And so it's not like a varathane coating that ends up just being plastic on it. And I will tell you, so I started with 80 grit, then went to 100, 120, 150, 180, 240, and then I actually went to 320. Actually, the Rubio Monocoat doesn't suggest you go that fine at all. I think they talk about topping out at 180. But I did not realize that, probably until it was too late, but it didn't seem to make any difference. The table took the treatment completely. And so I am going to lightly sand it and give it another coat. And Rubio Monocoat apparently, doesn't call for that, but I see a lot of installers online doing that, giving just a second coat, just to be sure that everything is completely treated on it. Look at that pattern in there. Isn't that gorgeous? Anyway, so I just as I started this, I had a delivery of this big black package. It looks like the 2001 monolith, but inside are the legs for this. And so they weigh about 120 pounds. So just lifted it off the truck with the delivery guy. And those will get powder coated. So I may even take those in to have them powder coated today. And so that this weekend, today is Thursday, so that this weekend I can put these legs on. So I'll flip this over, and then I'll route a spot on the bottom so that it'll be a flush mount with the leg mounts on this. Give it a nice look. And then the leg mount holes are slotted so that what you do is you put a receiver into the board. Can't think of what you call it right now, but you drill a hole, put the receiver into the board and then put the mounts on with slotted holes, and then you tighten down some black Allen threaded bolts. And then you thread them tight and then back them off a hair. The idea is that it'll let the wood move a little bit, because regardless of what kind of wood you've got and where you've got it, it's going to move a little bit. But just look at this. I just want to, I just sit here and run my hands over it. It just feels so great. And so I'm excited about this. I rounded over the edges on this, 1/8 inch round over. That turned out well. There was a little bit of sapwood here, that gives it that little bit of a little blonde swatch there in the board, in the whole table. So I think this is really going to turn out to be a nice project, because I'd hate to think I could screw it up now at this point. I mean, we're getting down to the finish line. Of course, anything can happen, but let's let's get the rest of it done and see how it finishes out. Okay, here's my unboxing of the legs for this table. These were purchased from Rockler Woodworking and shipped from a company in Canada that makes them. It's called Straw Bundle, and they are steel legs with a kind of a modern crisscross design. And I'll pull these out and flip it over, but you can see, I think already, that it's unfinished black steel, so it needs to be powder coated, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, kind of unpack the legs here from the Straw Bundle, as they call it. Now, I've seen several of these on YouTube videos with beautiful tables, and I've seen some from Blacktail Studios where they've used these on their tables, and or Cam has used them, and they just look great. And so they're very reasonably priced. I think the shipping, I think it was $4.59 for the product. The shipping's a little spendy, but you know, it has to be shipped LTL, and so on a pallet like this one here. So I suppose there's some expense. That was $229. So you're into it for $675 or something like that. But at any rate, I do see the, I don't want to unwrap it because it's raining like 100% right now. You can probably hear it. And I want to get this to a powder coater, so I don't think I'll unwrap it from the plastic. I do see that it has slots on the ends here, and then in the middle it does not. But I suppose if you think about it, you don't need to worry about expansion from the center, so that's probably why they didn't slot the center holes, and that kind of makes sense. At first I thought, oh, I'll have to slot those, but you know, if it's in the middle of the table, I don't know why would you have to worry about the middle expanding from the middle. It shouldn't, right? So anyway, I'll leave it like that. They do include some simple lag bolts, galvanized lag bolts. I won't be using those. I'll use a little more sophisticated system. But you can see it's kind of cool. It looks like it's got like a 3" by 3" and then a 2" by 2" components. 2 by 2, 3 by 3. And it'll have a very modern look. They said it easily supports the table that I've built, at least according to the specifications. And I would suppose that it would. And it's going to have a modern look, obviously, so I need to make some kind of modern chairs to go with the whole system. And that's what I'll be looking forward to doing this winter, is maybe make a set of either 4 or 6 chairs for this. So off to the powder coater with this, and then we'll see you in a bit. Here's the tag that came with it. It says, there's a lot of French on here because it comes from Canada. It's simple, versatile, and has the dimensions and everything on it. But it does say here that it is ideal for tables, dining room tables. Specifically in English. So this is the look of it. Of course, they show it here in the unpowder coated version. We're not gonna put a clear finish. We're gonna go for black. Note to builders. So this drill bit was supposed to be 10.5 millimeters, and it was supposed to work with these inserts, but it doesn't. It's too big a hole. Drilled the hole without testing, and I could just push that in there. That's no good. So, cautionary note: test it before you go. Now I'll have to. That's just one hole, but I'll have to epoxy that in there. Maybe put it in with some wood pulp. Anyway, so don't make that mistake that I did. So these inserts take a threaded bolt, this nice Allen drive bolt. This is a 1/4 Anyway, it goes in here, threads in here, but I think the thread should go further up to the head of that bolt, because the thickness of the steel it's going through isn't even quite that thick. Now, I know they're supposed to kind of float so that the wood can move, but I'd prefer to be able to snug them down and then back them out a little bit. So I've just threaded them a little bit more. I've just inserted them and I've threaded them closer to the head of the bolt. Now, these are also going to be too long for me. Of course, on the slab table is 2 inches. They'd be fine. I do not want to get it that close to the bottom. So I'll also probably be cutting a 1/4 inch off the end of this, probably 3/8 of an inch maybe. But I want to see that as I get closer to it. But anyway, had to modify those slightly to make them work to my satisfaction. Okay, so the garage is a mess, but I can't put the table in the house yet. But this is it. It is finished. And it's also finished with Rubio monocoat. And I may give it one more on top of that. Then I'll be putting the Black Forest ceramic on top of it to give it more water protection and more of a sheen to it. The legs on this are from Rockler Woodworking, and they're called a straw bundle. And they're, I was a little suspicious. What's really great about it is it really makes the table float, I think. But also is going to keep the chairs and the legs. I have a tall family, I'm tall. And so it's going to keep our knees out of the way of any supports. And I was a little, concerned about how strong that would be. But it says it holds the table up to 10 foot long. This is 7 foot long, and I feel no movement whatsoever. It is quite sturdy. And so I did have to powder coat this black, as you know. But I've got the braces, the C-channel on the bottom to help keep the whole board in a pretty straight position over time. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's the first table I made a coffee table probably 30 years ago. But this is the first table like this I've ever made. And so I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to start on another project. I was over at Woodcraft in Tigard, and they had this zebra wood. Oh my gosh. And it was such a good price, I couldn't pass it up. It was 8/4, 2 inch thick. And so I got 4 pieces and I've just glued them up. And I'm gonna make a coffee table out of that one. When I finish this one, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it straight. And then I'm gonna do the bottom part at a 22-degree bevel. I got that again from Blacktail Studio on YouTube. He did that and I think it looks gorgeous. And this is just the classic chocolate bar edge here. That's what I call it, because this looks like a big chocolate bar. Anyway, this is getting to be fun. I put this one together with dominoes, also Festool dominoes. And I had the advantage, of course, of access to the Oregon Woodworkers Guild up in Multnomah, which is in Portland, Oregon. And they've got a lot of tools there and a lot of help. Jesse Smith helped me again with this one. The way he gave me some assistance on this table. So I'm really loving this. I like these big tables. I mean, I think I like working tables. At least I'm going to be on that kick for a while. And, not the jewelry boxes or stuff like that for right now. I'm going to go big stuff while I have access to a big shop. Maybe someday I can afford some tools of my own. Some big tools. Anyway, so this is all fun. I hope you enjoyed the video I made of putting this together. Kind of an heirloom table for me. Started over 30 years ago. Enjoy.